All right, and this is LKL coming from you on the Monday night at should be 8:59. We normally go live just a little bit early, but I want to talk about some of the things that have been attack on our country, our democracy, and thank God for the 250th anniversary of the Army. Woo-hoo. I was in the Army, but we just thank God that it has been blessed to last that long. So we're gonna talk about a little things. We're gonna talk about five things, and we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna try to give you a little of my thoughts, and whenever you watch this video, some point of my campaign, if the Lord see me through it and I make it to campaign start in 2026. I'm gonna try to start then right now to focus on some of the local in Alabama, which I'm gonna start in the city in the southern states. So I've been tagging people and trying to catch their attention. I know it's too early, but it's good to start early when you're not well known. But I believe that people are looking for something else. And by saying that when they're looking for something else, I mean that it's a whole lot of things that could be talked about or could be done. But right now, it's just a whole lot of things going on in the country. So we're gonna tilt the head off and talk about some things tonight. I know it's very crucial. That's what's taking place. Talk about some of the topic and my thoughts about it. Not my feeling, but my thoughts about it. But we're gonna go right into it. Number one, we got provoking the ego of President Trump. And I know he's our president. We pray for him. We try to hope that he have a change of heart. But after 6 months and paying attention to everything that has been taking place, it seemed like he's not going to change his course of action. He seemed like he gonna continue the direction, continue what he's doing, continue to defy the Constitution, continue to defy the courts, try to max out the courts. But here we are with this parade, which I'll talk about a little more at the end. But the simple thing with the parade and it being his birthday is to build his ego up and make it seem in the competition with other rulers of other dictatorship. And that's what it seemed like. The United States is not a dictatorship, and the citizen, hopefully, we withstand it. But we have to think about everything that has been taking place in the last, well, close to the last 10 months. If you're going back to November, 8 months rather, 9, 8. But it goes back to that because you got half of the country which for this administration. So we have to we have to take in other words, we have to take notes or take thoughts of what's going on because me it should have never happened, but it happened. But we have to look at the people now is part of this country and choosing these things and right now in the acts of it. So we can look for the Republican, the voters. I'm not criticizing those Republican voters because they might be some of my voters, but we have to take take note of everything that's taking place and not forget. The Republican Party have sort of drifted away, and we could look at MAGA. I don't think it's so much MAGA. I believe it's the Republican Party. MAGA is just a shield that they use and they stand behind. So we look at all the Republicans standing still, not saying nothing. Those that do speak out, yes, speak out because they're had the crime that this guy committed in killing two of the state senate in Minnesota. But we have to look at that and say, hey, that's not coming out. That's not fighting against what's the major problem. Yes, we can go out and condemn the act of violence of the act domestic terror, but we have to look at what are you doing? You're not doing anything to stop this monster or stop this movement that is going, but you will sit there and do nothing. You'll vote for the very bill that will damage this country even more, but you'll vote for it. So that's not really fight for anything. You come out condone. That's nothing compared to what has been happening these 6 months. If they did, oh well, but I don't think they should have any gratitude or be gratified because what they did. Somebody died. Matter of fact, two people died because of domestic violence or domestic terror. So we have to look at that. We have to take note to all of this. When it's time to vote in 2026, we got to vote with our conscience, vote with a mindset that we got to stop the Republican move. We got to stop this. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna use MAGA. It's gonna be Republican because they are the party that's in the House. Everybody that sits in the House is the majority of them is Republican. The same one that were there when Obama, same one pretty much there when Biden was president. They pretty much start everything that good that he was doing. But now we come to they have no voice. They have nothing to say when Biden was doing executive order. Now, as I'm trying to jump on the Democratic side, no, I'm saying what's right versus wrong. You have to be bipartisan when you're dealing with the government. And right now, it's a sellout when Congress is doing nothing. Just doing nothing. But the one most important thing I would say, I didn't like the guy Matt Gates. I didn't too much deal with him, but he had an ideal, a solution that what was taking place and what he did to the last speaker of the House. Can't think of remember his name, but the last speaker of the House when he voted him out. But he had an idea what he was fighting against, and got sold out because of his activity, what he was doing. But the main thing, he understood what was behind the Republican Party. Now, if he would have fought a little harder and uh, uh, you know, you know, talk a little more and explain a little more, he probably would have survived. But he didn't. So we got to look at what's taking place the last 6 months. There's a lot of things been taking place. There's a lot that is going on, but this parade and all of that was the stroke of Donald Trump ego and everything he do, and however he do it. So we have to fight against that. We can't boost his morale. The Republican got to stop stroking his ego and boosting him to do things and knowing that they're not going to say anything. So my question is, the Republican is going to be the Republican that help save this country. You know, it will never be the same for the Republican Party, and that's I believe that's what they don't went to. They lowered plays that can't grab themselves or pull themselves out of a deep hole that they don't got themselves into. So all with that, it's just a stroke of President Trump ego. Whatever he do, it's a stroke of the ego, but we need to start stopping it with the Republican backing not the court system. When you start having the court system to fight your battle, and in a sense, that's what they do for justice. But when you got the power to do something about what's taking place, and you just sit and do nothing, don't come out and talk about it, don't say nothing. Only time you come out and talk about it when you criticizing the Democrat and you want people to think that it's all the Democrat fault. But ain't none of this the Democrat fault because it always we have to always understand from January the 6th at last year 2021 2020, 21, that the riot was, it was cause of the Republican. They're standing tall. Right now, it is same domestic violence, even with ICE, even with the police officer, even with everybody that stand behind Trump. They feel like they got a ticket to do wrong. It's a just way to do everything, and that's the most important thing. It's a just way to do everything. I don't care who they are. I don't care if you're the worst criminal. You have the right to have justice, to go to a court, and be and anyway, give an opportunity to see your side, even though you got caught in the act, but you still have to go to court and be tried and everything else. And then you sentence and all of that. But the most important thing when all this is taking place, it boosts Trump's ego when he think they'll fight for him. They're targeting people because of him. He says things that cause people to do things provoke violence for people can do things. So we have to look at that. It's not the excuse nothing that nobody do wrong. That's not. But if we look at the situation, we should look at the people that is behind the thing that's taking place, and we have to go with that. But this court system, the justice system, is all messed up. It's gonna take some time to rearrange it. It's gonna take some time to put it back into place. But my goal is to focus on the citizen my first year, get them to a point where they're stable, and then we start dealing with all the other stuff, all the things that people have did that one charge. We have to look into that and start setting a standard saying that the Constitution is our law. When we sign or when we born on this soil, the Constitution now become your law. And I tell anybody before Trump, anybody, President Biden, Obama, Bush, Clinton, all of them, I said when we take that oath, we fight for the Constitution. And that's it. We don't try to make our own laws and make our own judgment. We look into what the Constitution say. If it has to be changed, which it does, it has to be changed for the loopholes can stop. As this present administration have showed us, it's a lot of loophole. But now we have to set the standard that we have to change the laws of law to fit this generation here. Because this generation here is more violent and more challenging, challenge everything that they can challenge. But now we have to look at the Constitution. We might have to change some things, and that's what this. If we gonna stand with the Constitution of the United States of America, we got to change a little thing. We got to tweak it to a point that we cut the loopholes out of the way. If you're gonna be a citizen, we're gonna make it plain. Any person, any human being that is born on the soil of the United States is a citizen. Nothing else said. And that's it. Can't be deported. You can't be sent. You can't be censored. You have the right to vote, and that's a citizen. And that's what we have to change that amendment to make it plain for everybody can know. This is it. When you go to court, it's plain today. And then if the judge see different, we just impeach him because it's plain. When something is plain and you try to make it to be something else, they need to be impeached. Not just because you're trying to break the Constitution. You for the stand for the Constitution because you are the justice. You are the judge. So enough with that with the Donald Trump ego. Second is the we had a bad weekend. Pretty much don't say it most everything that I'm gonna say about the death of the state senate, but we have to look at these things and we know what caused these things, the rhetoric, the voices, the people speaking against each other, the back and forth talking to each other, and we going after the other throats and all of that. But I just pray for the family. Hope they have a recovery, fast recovery. I know that it's hard to say, but I know they'll get over it. It takes some time, and I pray that they get some counsel, which is they're gonna need it because there's a tragic moment when kids lose their parents. It's never was planned for parents, well, in a sense, for their parents to leave before kids get to an age of adulthood or somewhat live their fully life. Something like just happened with the domestic violence, and that's what we should look at because it shouldn't have happened. They should have had more life than what they had, but we just keep them, lift them up, and pray for the family and hope that they recover from their the one that will be missed in their life. So number three, Republican, and I talked about Republican a lot. I believe that we as people got to acknowledge, and I hope that putting the two together with my number 4 point, the Republicans should be voted out of office. Every Republican that is president now, I hope the people in the Republican states, and I hope that they ain't that hatred of other races. I hope they ain't that racist that they keep these same people in the office when they let a president do what he want to and hurt them as citizens. But then they will say, "Oh, it's helping us out. It's gonna get better." We and I wish they understand that a president only can have 4 years. That's 4 years, and that's it. Well, then what you gonna do when he leave? So you have to look at that. You start thinking like how this gonna turn out when he leave. The next guy that come in to be president can change everything like he did, change everything that Biden had put in place, everything that the Democrat had put in place. So they have to understand to a point that they're gonna lose a lot of stuff and it gonna hurt. And the Republican is just like, well, we'll let him go so far and do whatever we want to, and they always come with, well, we're gonna make sure he follows his agenda. That right there, and I always say they say that to be liars because if you feel that way, every president that come into office, you support the president agenda because you should be bipartisan anyway. It shouldn't be partisan that one party rule the whole country. It never was meant to be that way, or we would have never had a two-party system or three-party system if we want to count the outsider of the independent party. So we have to look at that and take heed to that. It should never be where we at today. And it was about the same way when he had his first term. And I wish they would have learned from the first term, but they didn't. They didn't when they had the opportunity to impeach him. Then they didn't do it. They have an opportunity right now because they have both the House and the Senate, and they can do pretty much whatever they want to because it's only going to last for a minute, say 2 years, because I'm quite sure the Democratic will take the House or either the Senate. Hopefully, they take both and maintain both. And I know they probably won't get no bill passed, but hopefully they will maintain both and fight for them next 2 years. And then if it need be, they have to impeach if it keep going the same way. And that's the only thing to take place. And I know the Senate, well, if we impeach the next one that be in charge will impeach. No, because there's a justice system that we go to court. If they feel like if President Trump feel like he got impeached for the wrong thing, let him take it to court and be done. Besides, it's not like the Democratic gonna be president. They got a vice president, which is worse than he is. And then we got the Senate, the country majority leader, he's worse. So really, you ain't got too many people that you can look at that might change. They worse than him, and in turn of trying to do good. Mike Johnson, I don't know. He always say good things, but and then it gets it. He said he'll Christian. I don't know what he is as we speaking of that, because when he stand at that podium and talk, it's disturbing. So we ain't gonna say too much about his religious preference, but I just the Christianity that it shouldn't be what they display it to be. That's not Christianity. But with that, we'll go a little further because people might say the same thing about me. But that's far from it right there. That he said he is. So it's a different there. So let's go a little further with the parade. Now, with the parade, we understand that the administration trying to get a budget set, but that budget gonna be hard to set because if we count all the money that has been spent, has been charged, has made the deficit go up, we can look at this parade, which was a nonsense, and they estimated to be 35 million. I am not sure. I'm just going by what it's reporting, so I can't confirm that because I don't see the book, so I'm not going to say that's me thinking of my thoughts. I'm just going by what they say or estimate that is. But I do understand this as coming out of the military, the things that we do can get expensive. Either when we one time we did it, I don't know why we did it, but we challenged ourselves. We shipped our equipment to California at the Natural Training Center, and that cost a lot. After we got done, our company budget was done. We had to get help from the other companies just to survive. But that's a challenge. That's the thing that we do. When your budget is spent, you have to depend on each other. But just that move alone was very expensive. Now the thing that I don't know exactly where they came from. Did they come from Fort Hood, or which seemed like Georgia probably the closest, or it all depends where they come from. But they had to get there by rail, and that's a lot of, depending on how many vehicles they had. That's a lot of vehicles. But the thing about it, they had their older model vehicle, which it probably didn't beat the roll up as much of the newer model vehicle. New model vehicle is heavy. I know that for a fact. It's very sudden that we will have them on the road, which we didn't really. We got hit to our training center, and then we did. It was just a crossover on a dirt trail that we had, and we went to the ranges and all the field. So we know that it'll tear up some roads. So if it's an emergency and we had to go on the road, we always try to keep one trike off the road and one on. That's something that we did, and we didn't try to tear the road up or go so fast. But that's just for Bradley, the Bradley fighting vehicle. Now for the tanks, I never seen the tanks on the road. They always got hits. That's something I know that for my personal experience, that tanks never got on the road. They always was hit. Now they did, I didn't see them. But with that parade, it was a lot. Well, not so much saying because Trump did it. Any president, every president didn't do it because they knew the cost of it, and they knew that it was not the thing to do if you want to save this nation money and budget right. Now we did have on the day. We did games. We had other posts come. We had game activity when other posts came. We had competitions and stuff like that. Now that's the best Army Day that we had. We never thought of being a parade because I know when I was in the parade, the award ceremony and the chain of command ceremony, they're not parade, but it's pretty much the same. We march. And I know every time we had a chain of command ceremony, I know I didn't want to be there because you had to stand up at the position of tension, and you had to try to hit every note. And the hardest thing I found in the military, which is so funny, what's so funny is trying to get soldiers to the bugle that played, and you have to know when they go to attention and all of that. It's exciting, but at the same time, you don't want to mess it up. You don't want to fall short because everybody sees you because you behind the commander and everything. People just watch, and you always have to be at attention a long time. And that's the thing that I remember the Army Day. That was the best. So having the vehicles ride down the road, and soldier walking down the street, which was no reason for. And then the comment on and the soldier, I know they said it protest, but depending on where the soldier came from, how disciplined it was, and the act of them marching, and they probably just told the soldiers just walk natural because they probably walked a good distance, and you didn't want no soldiers really to fall out. They will do it. Some reason about soldiers falling out. I've seen many of them fall out in chain of command and award ceremony. So, especially at graduation, I did a lot of graduation. And those soldiers, they held in there, some fell, and some of them stayed strong. But with all of that, the basis thing is that we don't have to change to a point that we lose focus as a nation, and we lose focus in saying that we need a dictatorship. We are three branches of government. I believe that we should go back to that, and Congress got to wake up. I'm not saying so much about the Democratic, like say, everybody have an understanding. You can protest and do all you want to. It do change the mind of other people. But if the administration presently now that don't want to change, it just gonna be. We just got to endure until to Democratic get control of either House or the Senate. We know the president out till 2028. But I think that we can hold on. I think we can keep fighting, keep showing the people that, we'll, with the protesting, I tip my hat off to them that protesting. But, that's good. But the main thing is the Republican states got to show up. I know all of them cannot agree with what's going on. All of them cannot still agree with this administration. But if they do, this is only one thing. They got to be so as a racism high to agree with this administration now. And I know every Republican is not don't have that much hate in them. They probably voted Republican because they're a hardcore Republican, but they got to make that decision. It don't hurt to remove Republican out of the office until you get a stable country. You have to do it for the country. And I don't know why people vote party anyway. And I know with Democrat, Republican, yes, but we have to vote for the country's sake in the next election. We cannot vote for party strength. We gotta vote for this country because I don't want no dictatorship. I want to keep living free. I want to, when I go out my door, I ain't got to worry about nobody telling me I can't be outside. When I go to the store, I don't want nobody telling me I can't buy this. We can't sell you anything. I didn't go through them times. I don't want to go through them times. If I can prevent it, I won't go through those days. It just is critical when we go to the poll this next election. We got to go with confidence, and then we got to get the young folks that have graduated, which will still. We have two set of graduation, one this year and one next year before the next election. So we got to get those voters, those young voters that have graduated from school. We got to grab hold of them. We got to reach them, especially those of color. We got to get them back into voting because they feel like it's not going to affect me, but yes, it is. It's going to affect the young people that looking for jobs that want to be in politics or want to be doctors and lawyers. So we have to get them, convince them that this is your life as well. This is you for the next 4 years of your life, that what you got to deal with. And it's better to solve it now than to try to fight it later. So I'm just looking forward for 2026. I know that who I'm voting for already, I don't think I will deal with on the Republican side. And like I say, I have voted for Republican. I have cheered them on. I semi like the Bush singer, the Bush Jr. Just like, he was just a mess. I went in and deployed with him. But then Clinton I enjoyed. Then I went back to Democratic. I like Carter. I wasn't voting for, but I liked the Carter. So it's just amazing. I voted for Obama the two times. So it's the fight that what is better for the country. When I see the president that's there and his party is backing him, I don't vote for that party. I vote for the party that can change, that might change, and then if they don't change and they still stagnate and do what they do and don't try to help the people, I go back to the other party. And you said, why you do that? Because we have to understand we have to get those parties that's not doing right by the people, and that's the main goal, that we get a president in to fight for the people. We don't fall for everything else, but it's not one that would fight for the people. And that's what I want to get in to do is fight for the people, make laws that is beneficial for them, that gonna help them. I believe that everybody can have success in the United States. It's so open, even with trade, even with open your own business, even with finishing school, starting school. The benefit is there, and funding for people with low income to get them in school. Some of the things that have to be mandated, but not so much forcing them, but in order to get them to continue their education, because we're gonna need it. And in a time like this, you're gonna need it for competition. Because if you like working I'm not downsizing working in factory. I'm not downside working at McDonald's. It's a career that you can take, and a career that you can make. But at least have a education that if you find a need saying that this ain't for me or I'm tired of this, that you'll have something to fall back on. Some trade. You want to have two trade. And I'm talking about the young people now. That's the one that we got to focus on. That's the one we got to get to the polls, the vote. And we got to get them, get their record cleared. We got to convince them that they are the key to winning, because if we can't get them out to vote, we are losing millions of voters, and we got to get them to the poll. We got to tell them this is important. Don't sit at home. Get there. And I know the line's gonna be long, but get there. Take your bottle of water. You want to nobody have to give it. Get there prepared. Stand in line. Wait. The goal is getting your vote in and getting your vote counted. But and that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. All the things I talked about and all the things that I put before. I hope and pray that we can work and get the young folks out. We can get folks that side that they didn't vote the last time, and I understand that why they didn't. We can fault and say a lot of things, but all the crowd to find like something gonna happen, and that's understandable. We can't fault them, but that's understandable. Things like that gonna happen, but we got to be ready next time to get ready to stay in the line, and we got to have in the Democratic district and as well as the Republican out of respect. We got to have security. We got to have we can be sending this up right now. We can have the National Guard ready. We can let all the National Guard do early vote, get them out of the way, and have them put in security for people that is voting. That's a simple thing that we can do. We don't have to, and you said rely. Yes, we can rely on the police, but we have a full force to have people feeling secure that for them to get their vote to count. But that's all I have for tonight. And when you watch the video, hope that you subscribe and just give me a note or two. Hopefully, if I get some notes, I will bounce off and send you a Zoom link, and maybe we can have that conversation. But other than that, I'm gonna close out tonight. I gave you when the Amateur close out, check out. So we're gonna go ahead and close out for the night, and we'll see you next Monday. And I don't do these video every night because so much be going on. I don't want to be on line like that. I do it every Monday, and hopefully the videos that is being created now. I know that I don't have other than when I running for governor. I had viewers then, but all of these is just to say that when people start noticing, start watching me, they have something to find out who I am and what I'm about. So I say this is ALK signing out, and hope to see you on next Monday.